AMT's Mack R is a favorite kit of mine. Although the kit does provide the characteristic Mack air scoops on the roof, the vent which they direct air to is not represented, compared to the MPC offering of the Mack DM series cab shown on the left. This detail is easy to add, starting with a 10 thou styrene panel. I used the MPC kit for dimensions, but the piece worked out to be 460 thou long by 300 thou wide, and the forward edge was 425 thou from the front of the raised cab roof section. Round off the corners of this panel and glue in place. Then make the vent cover from a piece of 30 thou by 156 thou wide styrene strip, cut 350 thou long, with the corners and edges rounded. Glue this in place centered on the 10 thou styrene panel, and that completes the roof vent. It's also quite easy to model this roof vent in the open position, starting with laying out a hole in the cab shell, 5/16 of an inch long, 3/16 of an inch wide, and the front of the hole be 475 thou from the front of the raised cab roof section. Drill around the edges of the hole and rough cut out with a hobby knife. And after filing the edges of the opening smooth, glue the 10 thou styrene panel, 460 thou long by 300 thou wide, centered over the hole cut into the cab roof. The 4 pencil lines on the cab roof are guidelines I put down to help align this part. Working from the inside of the cab shell, cut a hole in the 10 thou styrene panel that's 300 thou long by 125 thou wide, and keep the hole centered in the opening so a ledge is created all around, into which a piece of 1/32 K&S brass mesh can be glued to complete the vent opening. All that's needed now is to create the vent cover, which again is 30 thou by 156 thou styrene strip, cut 350 thou long, and the 2 small side triangles are cut from 20 thou styrene sheet. Trim back the forward edges of the triangular side pieces as shown, and round off slightly, and this completes the vent cover, ready for installation. I'm modeling this truck with the roof vent set to the forward position to scoop air into the cab. You can also glue it in place with the open end facing the back, which is where it would be set if it was being used to ventilate the cab and draw air out. Whether you build your model with the roof vent open or closed, the air scoops are worth investing some time in because, as provided in AMT's kit, these are molded solid rather than hollow the way they are on the real truck. I removed the molded on mounting pins and also the small flat piece on the back portion, highlighted in red here. With these parts trimmed off and the air scoop cleaned up, a fine-tooth razor saw was used to make 2 parallel cuts partway through, using the rectangular depression molded on the bottom side as a guide to locating the saw cuts. The goal is to cut through the main body of the air scoop and not cut into the overhanging portion, which projects out to the front of the cab. Removing the plastic between the saw cuts with a hobby knife and finishing with a fine file results in a hollow air scoop, which looks much better than the stock kit part. Glue the air scoops in place on the cab roof, leaving enough room in between for the center marker light. Seen from the front, the hollow air scoop looks much better than a solid plastic piece, especially on a light colored truck, such as the one I'm building here, which will be painted white. Another cab vent you can add some detail to on AMT's Mack R kit is this one, on the driver's side, located forward of the door. Using the molded in outline of the vent as a guide, drill a series of holes around the perimeter. Use a hobby knife to connect the dots, remove the bulk of the material, and make initial rough cuts around the edge of the opening. And finish with an assortment of flat, square, and round needle files as required. With the vent opening cleaned up, K&S 1/32 square brass mesh is glued in place on the inside of the cab shell. Because the outside of this vent cover, when closed, is flush with the surface of the cab, the mesh being recessed the thickness of the cab shell is correct for this application. Cut the vent cover from 30 thou by 156 thou styrene strip and round the corners as required to fit it to the opening. Glue the vent cover into the cab shell at approximately a 45-degree angle in the open position, and add small triangular pieces cut from 20 thou styrene, top and bottom, with the front corners rounded off as shown here, to complete the vent cover installation. The space between cab shell and interior tub provides clearance for the wire mesh and also a realistic open area behind the vent. Although I didn't do it on this model, the cowl vent in front of the windshield center post could also be modeled in the open position using similar techniques. Sleeper cab vents are done the same way, and although this particular model is a Mack R, the sleeper is from a TranStar 4300, and the basic modeling techniques to model vents in the open position can be applied to sleeper cabs from any of the truck kits on the market. Thanks for watching this little how-to. Give some of these techniques a try on your next model truck project, whether it be a Mack R or any one of the many other kits on the market we have to work with.